It's a song, so be careful. And I'll pick the song. Second of all, in the back room, if you have not signed in, it is very important that you have signed in for this class. You've signed in clearly. We could read your name. You will not only be recognized for attending this class by that sign-in, but you'll also be paid for this class by that sign-in sheet. So it's very important. Any doubts about your clarity in your writing, you might want to go back and check. We'll get started in just a few minutes. Thanks.
You blowing me up. Is that the way it's going to go?
We got about a little over an hour to spend with Brendan here on this presentation that he's going to give you to increase your knowledge about serving safe alcohol here at Chase Field. Just real quick, I'd like to welcome all of you on behalf of Levy Restaurants and the Levy Restaurants management team here to the RCS class here. Brandon is your instructor. He's going to go over some details in his presentation that is going to benefit you in your daily job here at Chase Field. Other than our great hospitality and hospitality services that we present to our guests, in addition to safe alcohol service is up there with 1 and 2 with our hospitality that we give with our guests. It should be at the forefront of every one of your minds as you do your jobs daily here at Chase Field, serving alcohol in a responsible manner to our guests. We like to refer to it as family serving family responsibly. And not to put any dampers on anyone, but we've had some cases so far this first 3 months. The season's about halfway over. All-Star breaks next week, or going on right now, actually the All-Star game next Wednesday. And we've had the unfortunate situation where we've had to let go some of our family members here at Chase Field for not being so responsible. And what we mean by responsible is when you're carding people, knowing what to look for, knowing the proper date on an ID. And these are some of the things that Brandon is going to help you with today to make sure you all understand what to look for, what a driver's license should look like, a lot of things that will help you make decisions in your job. We want all of you to continue our relationship with each other here at Chase Field and have a good one. Unfortunately, one of these employees that we had to let go in the last 3 months was a 15-year veteran employee here with this building and U.S. Airways Center. And it was a sad thing to see someone go under the circumstances by simply not looking at an identification correctly, and happened to be a spotter from the liquor board. Okay? The spotters do come in this building. They come up and they present an underaged person to buy alcohol. The ID clearly states underage. Most everyone looked at that ID but didn't look at the date good enough. That didn't last very long and got cited, and it wasn't a pretty thing. So I want you guys to all take stern notice of what's important here in this class and take it to heart and implement it daily in your jobs here. Without further ado, Brandon, thank you.
Yeah. Guys, great to be back here with you guys again. I see a couple new faces and a couple old friends as well, so it's great to be here with you guys. Isn't it interesting as we go through this and we hear the managers, we get a first look at reality that employees are being let go. When I talk about the AD LLC of Arizona Department of Liquor License Control, whenever I call down there and I always ask a little bit with my friends down there, I always say, well, what are you guys doing in sting operations? Where are you guys at? You know, who do we have conducting the operations this week? And sometimes they'll give you a little bit of information, and we got a little first-hand as well. It's interesting enough because when I do ask them, it's almost the same answer every time. They always say, well, we're going around this week and presenting an ID that says this person is clearly underage. We're bringing a minor with us. His ID is not fake, not falsified, not changed in any way, because we know we're going to catch enough people just with using an ID, because we know they're not looking at that ID carefully enough. And isn't that interesting? Sometimes I get up here and I go into these deep descriptions about how falsified IDs are and the different holograms and techniques, right? When really, the basic term is, the basic trick that's going around is nothing more than presenting a real ID that says, hey, I'm under 21, don't serve me, please. And yet those IDs aren't being looked at carefully enough. It happens a lot, wherever I go, wherever I travel from, to see those cases. As we go through this class, like I said, about an hour and 10 minutes long. We're going to go over some of those training topics as far as alcohol compliance goes, how to identify minors, how to check IDs properly, how to look at a falsified ID. We're going to go over the types of IDs. I've had some questions about the forms and the types of IDs lately from a lot of the employees who have emailed me. So at any time during this presentation when we have that question answer period, and you guys are a little bit concerned about what types of IDs and the exceptions we can take, please feel free to ask me. I allow you guys as well, let you guys know I have a slide up here. I'll give you my email as well. Any alcohol-related questions, please feel free to email me about it. I try to get back to everybody in a timely manner, so keep that in mind as well. We go over some of the stories and how important alcohol compliance is. I was recently, I'm going to tell you guys kind of a news story. For those of you who've been in my class before, here's an interesting story for you guys. I often go to court, like I said, and we go in, and I was in a court case not too long ago of a DUI court case. And I sat there at the back and I was listening to what's going on, taking notes. And it's an interesting story. The guy got up, and this is kind of a different story. The guy got up and said he was being charged with a DUI. I told you guys in the last class how strict the penalties are just for someone who has a DUI. Not to mention how strict the penalties are for servers and bartenders now. Every year, I go over this in every class, but every year the penalties are become more harsh. Fines, infractions, I see more and more come across my email, and the amount of revenue that's having to be paid by some alcohol concessionaire companies. Not to mention a lot of individual cases brought against bartenders and servers like ourselves. But I was in this court case, and I heard this guy, and he was being charged with DUI, and I heard just how extreme his case was. And basically in this case, what had happened is he's being charged with DUI. He got 6 months with no license, 1 year breathalyzer in his car, okay? Where once again, after that 6 months was over, he had another year to have a breathalyzer machine in his car, which is mandatory now in the state of Arizona. Okay, 3 years probation. He had to attend a series of MAD classes, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and several other violations and fines. I think it was either $2,500 or $3,500 in fines that he had to pay. So as you can, and this is a person with his first DUI. I thought to myself, man, that is harsh for somebody. At first I thought that. I said, wow. But then I remembered just how strict the laws are as well for people who serve alcohol. That guy got off easy compared to what bartenders and servers and alcohol concessionaire companies have to endure. Because we take on that responsibility of serving those clients. As we go into the slide, you're going to see some of the same material we see, but as far as why is it important, obviously it's very strictly regulated activity. We have sting operations. They're in here. They're more vocal now. They're more frequent. People are in here from the ADLLC, not to mention the local task force, and they're in here soliciting alcohol, conducting sting operations. For every year, I go over this, but it gets even more, the amount of people that come around do sting operations in every venue, Dodge Theater, whether it's Cricket Pavilion. I have all those access to those accounts, and they are there. We're going to go over today, what is alcohol, some basic terminology, consequences, local and state-specific laws we'll go over as well. Minors and properly checking IDs, intoxication, proper intervention procedures. We're going to go over other prohibited activities.